Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the REI Network podcast. Okay, if you are watching us on the podcast or YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. We've got some more episodes coming with some really cool people. I want to introduce today's guest just here in a second, but I did want to give you a quick giveaway. If you want 5,000 free property records for you to mail or skip trace to start calling and texting, I want you to go to batchleads.io/Gavin. Batchleads.io/Gavin. They're running a promotion right now to give people, my audience, 5,000 records. So jump on that, get them, and get marketing, get some leads coming in. All right. So now I am going to introduce my guest. I'm going to bring him over right now. It is Frank Hopkins. Frank, how are you?
Hey, Gavin, good. I'm doing really well. How are you?
Yeah, good. I appreciate you jumping on. I've been pretty impressed. I've known you for I don't know how many years. It seems like a lot of years,
It's
right?
been a while, yes.
It has. And it's been impressive to see your journey, right? When we spoke back in I don't know what year, several years ago. I know you were at the day job. I know
Yes,
you were looking for a way to go into real estate full time.
that's right.
And I think our big discussion today, which is going to be a killer one, is the advantages of being an investor and an agent, right? And getting that across of how can people that have their license, do both sides. And I think there's sometimes different ways, right? Investors get their license to stay maybe compliant, or realtors have been doing traditional real estate, but they have no idea on the investment side. So we're
Right.
definitely going to dive into that and talk about it. I'm not an agent, and I have my reasons for not being an agent, mainly because I'm virtually in multiple markets. It doesn't make any sense, but I do have, depending on what we're doing, I do have agents that I do use to bring in for certain things, if it's listing a property after a flip and things like that. So
Sure.
let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about you, kind of your background, your backstory, how you got into real estate, and then we'll build it from there.
Okay, cool. Well, honored to be with you, Gavin, and I've learned so much from you over the years. So I really want to acknowledge that first. Um,
Thank
I
you.
I started. I was actually working for a church in Miami at the time, and because there was so many people in the church in Miami from Cuba, we had a big missions ministry in Cuba, and when we started going down there to help plant churches, you couldn't build a church in Cuba at the time, but you could buy a house and then a pastor would live in the house, and then he could have church out of that house. So our my first foray into buying houses was in Cuba. We'd go and help the fund church houses, and you'd pay, I don't know, $3, $4, $5,000, really inexpensive. And then there was a pastor would move in with their family and his family, and then they would start having church there. So that's when I really got started buying houses. Very unusual way, I'm sure, but and then the church in Miami started wanting to expand. So I spent a lot of time with our commercial real estate folks doing that. And then when I finished my time at the church, I got my license because I was going to be a business broker. You have to have your license in Florida to do that, and because I had sold my business before I worked for the church, and then moved to Orlando to be closer to my kids, and then bought a franchise from a national wholesaler. And that's kind of the short version of my journey into real estate.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So let's talk about then. You get in, obviously you started that way, so you could see the opportunity within real estate, and obviously your job being with the church led to like, oh, okay, I could probably take this on full time. And I remember the transition. I remember exactly kind of where I was traveling at the time when we talked about the ways that to get invested. I remember you going with the franchise, which again we don't need to talk about. The problem is with franchises that they tie you down with your marketing pieces. I remember that was one of our big things,
Yes.
and the way that you advertise yourself. So you got out of that. But let's talk about then. So the big advantage of what are you doing that between the investment and the agent side? How are you playing both sides? So give us some examples of how it's working for you and what people can take away.
Yeah. So I meet quite a few folks who are, obviously investors, and I meet quite a few that are agents. I don't always meet, folks who are agents who utilize the investing side of it or vice versa. So first of all, the idea, in terms of the actual testing and all, it's a fairly simple process. But I feel like that when, especially, as real estate today is so competitive that when I was only a wholesaler, I started out just wholesaling with that company that I had a franchise with, and really good experience. Just want to be free to do my own thing. But I would go into houses and make offers, whatever, and if my offer didn't work, which many times it didn't, then I had nothing, and I got frustrated walking away from leads. And not only that, Gavin, the bigger thing to me was I would meet people and I would think to myself, they shouldn't discount this house. Like their best exit is to sell this house, list it with a professional agent and sell it. Well, so I got tired of that pretty quick. And I decided, I had my license, but it wasn't really active with it at the time. And so I said, how can I utilize the license part of this? Because I really felt in my soul, there was many people I met that they needed more money than I could offer as a wholesaler, and partnering with professional agents, because a lot of times I get calls, then people will say to me, "Hey, I don't want to work with a real estate agent." Well, the reason they say that is because either they've had a bad experience, or they need to leave quick, or whatever the case may be. But there's been something in the past that they have this idea of what working with a real estate agent is. And so if you have a license and you understand, whether it's a creative deal, whether it's, subject to, whether it's, listed form, pay cash, whatever the case is, if I believe this 100%, like from the depths of my soul, that when I walk into a house, I have the option or the answer for you. You're gonna be the one that's gonna define what that answer is, and then I'll roll whichever way you want to roll. But personally, I can honestly tell you, I don't care which way you go. And I'll tell you this too. And if I'm not the answer for you, I always tell customers this: if I'm not the answer for you, and I'm not always the answer, I'll help you find the one that is. But
No,
I
that's
believe
good.
by being able to do both, I walk into a customer feeling like I can help them do what's best for them. And in the end of the day, I mean, this is a people business, as you've told me from day one, and we're there to help the people.
Absolutely. You can't, people do business with who they like,
Exactly.
period. Right.
Yep. Totally agree.
And I think there's another big learning curve, a learning, not curve, but a learning point in what you just said, is that the way that you position yourself going in, you said something that was crucial when you said that, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, if I can't help you, I will be able to provide someone that can. What you're doing is you're not there to sell them, you're not there to talk them in, and you literally relax the room. Right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you're not here pushing the cash offer. You're not here pushing the retail. You're listening, you're getting the information, you're kind of then taking that and then going, all right, what is the best move to solve their problem? And hey, Mr. Sarr, if this doesn't work or I can't help you, then I'm going to try and help you find someone who can. Right? What that's showing is to the seller is like, okay, this guy's not trying to sell me.
Exactly.
And it's just going to lower the room temperature, right? And everyone's just going to relax. And when everyone's relaxed, they can have better conversations. So I just wanted to point that out because that was awesome.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
I was just say, I feel like when people reach out to investors, because and I've had them tell me this, that they have this idea or this perception of what being an investor is, and they'll say things like, "I know you're going to lowball me, or you're not going to take my house, or you're not going to steal it from me, or whatever." Or you don't close. I heard you guys, get things on a contract and you don't close. So there's, again, those are either experiences somebody's had, and I know some of those things are true. I know people that have told me that they've experienced it. So when people reach out, there's a defensiveness. I mean, there's a wall. Like, hey, I need to do this, but man, I'm going to reluctantly, go down this road. And so I think it's so important, absolutely so important. I learned a lot of this from Todd Toback as well as you and Joe, but that you pull back, like, listen, I don't have to have this deal. I don't have to help this person. I don't have to do this. I'm here to help. If it makes sense for you, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But when I need the deal, and it might have been you the one that told me this, I forget, but somebody said to me, and I haven't forgotten this, the way to be successful in this business is to not need the deal. Because when you need it, it comes across as big dollar signs in your eyes or whatever, and you're all focused on you and your bills or whatever. You cannot succeed in this business that way, in my opinion.
Yeah. Be the reluctant buyer. Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you're right, it shows, the panic sets in, the desperation sets in, and you're always going to win more than you lose by doing that, right?
Right.
And at the end of the day, we can only work with motivated people, and that's what that proves, right? If they're not motivated to do anything, it doesn't matter who's in front. It doesn't matter if it's the best closer ever. If you have found out the situation and the situation isn't really a bad situation, and they don't really want to sell, then there's no deal to be done, right? But I think what you're doing is, it's kind of like my method when I say no lead left behind, right? You're basically saying, we'll buy it cash, we'll take it creative finance, or we'll list the property. We'll cover pretty much anything that's going. And you're right, you go into that house knowing or believing that there's nothing that you can't do or achieve in this deal. But you're also dropping that comfort in of saying, well, if there is someone better, I'll find them. I'll help you find them. So that's really good. So when you're doing this, how was that, since you started to apply this method, how has that changed like your business from, how are you setting these up type of deals? Because I already know the answer, but I want you to say it. Like, Are you taking these down as the investor? Are you handing them off on the realtor side? Are you partnering? Are you doing it all? Like, what's all that look like?
Great question. So, when they reach out, I'm the one that talks to the people, because I use my own name, Frank Jr. Buys houses. Somebody suggested to me early on, people like to do business with a person. So anyway, that's the reason I did that. And so when I feel like the most important piece of this is connecting and building rapport. So when so that initial call, once the person comes in and it's passed to me, I talk to them, and then Gavin, I've heard different things about this, but my own experience is that when somebody reaches out, they're interested. Now, I realize not everybody's interested. I get it. But the majority of the time, when I assume you reached out, you didn't want to waste your time, you reached out for a reason, I assume you're interested. And so my goal is to get in the house. Now, I know many do virtual, or et cetera. I'm still one that goes into the house. I love the connection. And I know when you and I connect, that something good's going to happen. And so, so what happens is, once we decide we're going to meet, and sometimes it's, hey, call me back in 2 months, or I'm not quite ready, or whatever. And so there's a follow-up, CRM and follow-up as well. But when I go in, depending upon where it is in Central Florida, I'll go in with an agent. Now, if somebody says to me, hey, I got to sell and I got to go, and, okay. Even then, I will go in with my partner agent. So there's two of us in the room. And I'll literally, let's suppose you're the customer, I'll say, Gavin, this is my partner, one of my partners is Tom. This is my partner, Tom. We partner together. When we buy it, I'm the one that buys it, and I've got my own lenders, and I explain how that works. But sometimes customers, decide they want us to list it for them, and Tom, focuses more on that side of it. So I feel like I work with 5 different agents who are like beasts, awesome. Like, they get deals done. Yep. And so what happens is, when they tell you, I've literally had people on the phone say to me, I don't want to talk to a real estate agent. And I'll say, yeah, I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to either. But I'll say to them on the phone, we are licensed. I am a licensed agent. I know you didn't call me for that reason or reach out to me for that reason, but I am. I just want you to know that, and I can help however you want help. No, I don't want to deal with a real estate agent. I get it. No problem. So I always bring my partner in, depending upon where I'm at. So if I'm on the coast, like Volusia County, I have somebody I work differently with there. We go in together, we have the conversation. And I feel like between the two of us, there's so much experience and knowledge of what possible exits could happen, that it works. Like, I'm really shocked, and I don't mean to sound arrogant on this at all, but I'm shocked if we don't walk out with an agreement, either a listing or an offer to buy the house ourselves. So if we buy it, I like to include the agent in that as well. So I literally like to partner with them the whole way. So if I buy it, then they get a percentage of that. If it's a listing, they'll list it, and then I get a referral fee for that. So, so let's say you said to me, hey, after thinking about this, I need the money from a listing. Let's retail this. Then I'll hand the conversation off to the agent. Hey, okay, so Tom is going to kind of walk you through what this would look like. And then, he'll talk through that part of it, and then I'll stay quiet. And then I'll assure the customer, hey, listen, we're both in this together, and we're both available to answer any part of this, but Tom is going to, drive the retail listing part of this, and I'm here to support him in doing that. And then if it turns out that we buy it, then I'll be the one to kind of drive that. And then, Tom would be the one to sell it for me. I don't, unless I'm going to wholesale it, and I generally try not to wholesale stuff. I'd rather just take it down and put it on the MLS, because I've just seen that to work out better financially. I like for the guys that I work with to, benefit either way, which means they, so they're getting parts of listings that are, deals that we take down that in the past they wouldn't have. So I'm splitting. I got 4 deals that are going to gross right at 200,000 that an agent is going to get half of that money. And so, but I also feel like it reduces my risk too.
Well, I think also though, like, because people listening to that number that, oh, you could have had it all, you could have had it all. But the reality is, yeah, you could, but could you, right? Could you have done 4, or would you been just done 2 on your own? Because not only are you partnering, but you're also giving a lot of tasks away. You're giving and gaining a lot of time back. And that's exactly my model. I tell everyone, I don't think I have ever done a deal start to finish on my own. Whether it's from me locking it up, me dispoing it, bringing someone in to partner. I've always had people and partnered on deals, because I know that people are better in certain areas than me. And while they're handling that, I can get the next one. Right.
I totally agree.
That's awesome.
100%. Well, here's the other thing. The agents know people I don't know, and they have investors who, so for example, I went to a mobile home, because, we'll buy mobile homes on owned land as well. And I'm literally sitting with an agent in Volusia County, and, seller tells us what they need. And then, and what happens is, as they're telling us what they needed more money than what I could pay, but the agent knew somebody who would pay what they wanted. So literally, while we're sitting there, the agent gets on the phone and calls their investor, hey, this is what we got, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, cool, I'll take it. So the agent sold that property while we're sitting there. So, I'm with you. I don't could I have made the 200,000 and kept it? I don't know, maybe, but that's not even like a thought for me. I don't even care, because my goal is to, bring as many guys along with me. Like I want a bunch of us to be successful in this, not just me. That's just my thing.
Oh, I agree, 100%, 100%. We just closed on 2 big deals that closed finally yesterday. The same thing, we had 2 50K deals close, and I make, after acquisition and closing, I made about 46,000. For me. But again, I'm happy everyone's been paid,
Exactly.
And I think that's really important. The other key thing I just want to jump back real quick that you said, which is huge. When you get on, and this goes for anyone, when the seller gets on the phone, right, they're going to attack either party. What do I mean by that? You're an agent, I don't want to deal with agents. You're an investor, I don't want to deal with investors. You're going to hear it on both.
Yes.
The key is to try and shut that down and agree with them as fast as they can.
Exactly.
Right? You said something genius. You said, I don't blame you. I wouldn't either. Something along them lines. It's the same thing. So on the investment side, if I get on the phone and go, oh, you're an investor, you're going to lowball. And I go, yeah, there's nothing worse than a lowball cash offer, is there? I don't blame you. But what if I could get you the price that you wanted? What would you want to do then? And then all of a sudden, disarmed, and they're like, what? Wait, what? You're not going to lowball me? No, absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to, say that I don't buy cash houses, but it's got to suit your situation, Mr. Seller. Let me ask you a few questions, and then we'll start to build that rapport. So I always believe that when you're on the phone, you have 10 seconds, right? The first 10 seconds is crucial to whether this call is going to go or if it's going to be a get off the phone moment, right?
Right.
So
Right.
little techniques like you just said, and I just wanted to really bring that to the service for people to have a aha moment, right? Because these things are like killer little moves that's gonna change everything. So
yeah, if you
that's
get on
awesome.
the phone, tell them all that you can do and blah 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 blah. You know, they're gonna like you said, you're lucky if you get 10 seconds. They'll like hang up on you quick because we're so used to getting spammed. Because I answer my phone every day, I get calls from telemarketers, etc. And I mean, you just don't get much time. So I agree with you. You got to be you got to be on point. But I think that the other thing too is, when I was being coached on the speaking side, they used to say to us, "Don't get in speaker mode. Like, just have a conversation like what we're doing now." So if you get on the phone and act all like salesy and let me read my script and all that, man. I mean, I'm okay with scripts, but if it comes across real sales, no thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was like when we got on, right? We just hopped on today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just be you. Like, we'll roll with it. Like, that's
Exactly.
just how I just want to be. I want to know Frank, right? I want to know you, just like if we're sitting just in a bar, in a restaurant, we bump into each other at the airport, right? It's got to flow and it's just got to be natural. There's no editing. It's just me, you having a conversation, delivering a ton of value for people that's interested in this field. And guess what? There's a lot of interest, right? Especially, it's easier probably for the investors to go to agents because they already understand it. And the agents, in my opinion, is just one way. It's retail, retail. So it's easier for the investors turn to agents, but I think it's very difficult for the agents to go to investors because they've learned one way, and now everyone's teaching something that's not taught the one way. And I think that's that's harder. So how are you with these agents that have these leads coming in, right? First thing, who is the seller going to call? They're going to call an agent, right? For the most part, right? They're going to pick up, they're going to find an agent. So these agents that aren't investors, are you networking with them? Are you trying to build relationships with them? Are you trying to show them a different way? Like, how does that?
Yeah, good question. So I'm with a really large international brokerage, and so we have a lot of opportunity to connect. And so what I did was I went to when I joined this brokerage, I asked the person that did some of my training with me, hey, who are some guys who really know how to make customers happy and that I could work with. So he introduced me to some of them. So we met, and I'd go and reach out, we'd connect, and then okay, tell me about how do you treat customers, and give me your philosophies and all that. And I wanted to be sure that our philosophies on dealing with the customer. For example, if you text me, and this is just me, if you text me, and unless I'm just I'm sitting there with my wife or my kid or grandkid or something, we're in the middle of conversation, I'm gonna respond back to you, like. Especially if it's like, a deal is going sideways or there's trouble with closing or whatever it is, like I expect you to treat that customer the same way I would, like they are a priority. And as I'm sure you know this as well. I've tried to spend my money with companies where I couldn't get anybody to respond or, like listen, I have dollars I want to give you and I can't get anybody to get back with me. Yeah. And I can't stand that. So I had the broker, send me some names. I reached out to them and found the ones that I felt like were a good fit. Now, I worked with a few different companies, but I try to work with the agents in the brokers that I'm in because I try to also add value to them by teaching them some ways. Like if we're in a deal, like we walk, like for example, we came in and we talked to you as a customer. When we drive away, we're having a phone call. Hey, how'd it go? Hey, what could we have said different? How did we do? How did the customer respond? And how could we have improved that? So we're giving each other feedback on the lead, but then I'm also telling them, now this is an opportunity to keep this as a rental, and here's the reasons why. Or this is an opportunity to flip this house, and here's how this could happen. And so I'm explaining to them, things that they may or may not understand to help them learn the investing side of it. I don't have all the details. I'm kind of like I forget who it was that said, if I don't need to have all the details, I just need to know somebody who has them. And so I don't have all the legalese of the retail side. I depend on the agents for that. but my goal is to help them, build wealth. And I've seen in my own life, my wife and I started buying rentals in 2017, and I've seen, just how it's changed our life. I mean, it's just had a complete, a huge impact on us. And so my passion is to help as many people. Listen, there's a lot of great companies, a lot of great organizations. I hear, oh, everybody should work for themselves. I don't agree with that. Some people love a company they work with. Great. But I do believe that if you're totally dependent on that, like, it's a dangerous place to be. And so I know many agents don't have retirement plans, and accumulating properties along the way and building wealth is through real estate is a way to do that. I'm just shocked at how little time that I've seen. Maybe it's different in other places where agents aren't taught the investing side of real estate, so that when you finish, man, you busted your tail for 30 years, you did great service, and like your deal chase. And like after a while, it's like, dude, I don't want to chase deals anymore. Like, I want to keep stuff along the way so that I don't have to do that at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everyone, depending on where you are on your journey, right? I think that happens for everyone. I love starting with, I wouldn't even say wholesaling. The way my mind works, if I can be a marketer, if I can be a master at sales and marketing, I choose what happens with the deal.
Yes.
I choose to wholesale. I choose to flip it. I choose to do a lease option, a creative finance. I choose to list it. I make the decisions when I get control of something, right?
Totally agree.
And I think the art of everything that we do, okay, is having the ability to find off-market deals to then get them to market, right? And that's what we kind of specialize in doing, because there's so many investors trying to get on the MLS, right? Buying on the MLS to flip. And for me, the margins aren't there. For someone to go in and say there's 25,000 in this deal, right? Top end 25,000, they're going to flip it in this market is just madness to me, right?
I totally agree. Yeah.
You've got to be making 25,000 and everything went wrong to make 25,000.
Exactly.
That's and we will not buy. This is another tip for everyone listening. We do not buy what we can't wholesale, right? Meaning that if it doesn't fit the wholesale, if I can't sell it to Frank for 10 grand and I can't sell it to anyone, I'm not going to go, well, we'll buy it because no one else wants it. No. That is signs that you don't have a good deal. Exactly. I want to say, I can wholesale this for 10 to Frank, or I'll take it down and make 60 and flip it, right? So I always stick with that if I can't wholesale it myself, we do not buy it. And that's kind of what we stick to. And it stands us so far in good stead.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I want to emphasize you guys taught me this. So had a coach I had here in Orlando, that everything that you buy has to have multiple exits. If you don't have multiple exits, then you can find yourself in trouble. The first flip that I ever did, I lost my tail on the first flip. And it's because I did it by myself. I didn't seek, the right enough information, and the information I got, I didn't listen to, because I thought, I got this figured out, and I did not. But the other thing is, there was only one exit on that property. And so that was a huge mistake. And just to emphasize your point, there's got to be multiple exits. And I know, this theory about today, like I have a price point that I'll buy in. Like I don't want to buy expensive houses. Like I don't want to worry about that. There's a price point where I'm going to stay, and I'm not going to be tempted by, something that looks awesome that's in a higher price point, because, it's good today, but man, I don't want to be, what's that game where, you pull a chair away and somebody's left without a chair. I forget what they call that. But I don't want to be in this. Yeah, I don't want to be in this market where, there's no chairs and I'm stuck with this real expensive home. I don't do it. When I buy a house in a certain range.
Absolutely. And the deals that we just closed, right? They were $50K a piece, right? But they were high end. And I don't know if people use this word, but I say I bottled it, right? I basically was scared to take the deal down. These things were probably, one was 400 grand, one was 450 in Alabama. Yeah. They needed 500 grand in each, and they'd sell for 1.5 million and take about 8-9 months to do.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking we can make 400 grand profit on each one, right? But at the same time, look at the job, look at the risk,
Exactly.
look at all the money in, look how many times how long it's going to take. So then we thought, hold on, we can get 50 a pop here, just a wholesale to a high-end flipper.
Right.
We can make 100 grand. We could make 800 grand if everything goes to plan, but we're tying up $2 million or whatever, you know, 1 point something million dollars for 8 months. We're in a madness market. Everything we flip, we want to make sure it's on the market within about 8 weeks.
Right.
We're not taking long, so it just didn't fit the model. And I think as investors, you've just got to stay disciplined to your thing and not chase the shiny things because you think that that's what you should be doing. And I nearly did it. I went back and forth for 7-8 days on this.
Yeah.
And then we just said, no, we can't, because yeah, great. If we could have made that, but I'm thinking, okay, can I make that money in 8 months anyway? And I think I can, with a lot less risk.
With a lot less risk, stress, you know, and by the way, if you don't have a full-time or ongoing rehab crew today, I mean, it's a struggle. So yeah, I actually like to buy properties that I can hotel, like where you do like very little polish, little spit shine, and put them on the market. I don't. I did like $120,000 rehab in last year in 2020, and I said, man, never again. Like that's not my specialty. And to your point, I could have rented it, I could have wholesaled it, but I thought, man, this would be an awesome thing to do. As it turns out, we went over budget. It cost a lot more money, a lot more stress. We had to fire the GC in the process, trying to find someone else, and just like, okay, no thanks. And it's easy to do. Even, I mean, you're super experienced, one of the most successful investors I know. And even you're, with 2 recent deals, you're going back and forth. Should we, flip it? Should we, So I think you just have to constantly remind yourself, okay, what's my sweet spot? And I need to stay there.
Yeah, definitely. We just had something. I'd like your opinion on this to see if this happens. So we've got a flip right now that's in closing, right? We listed it at 262,000. We got an offer for 300 grand or 10,000 over appraisal, right?
Okay.
We know it's not going to appraise for 300 grand. In our head, we're thinking it might appraise for 275, maybe 280. Okay. The appraisal comes back yesterday at 263 low. So we're like, there's no way. We've looked at comps. There's no way. So anyway, we get the appraisal and start digging. The appraisal guy we've got a pool. It's not on. It says no pool. We have a pool. It says that it's not been remodeled. The bathrooms haven't been remodeled in the last 6 to 10 years. It's been fully remodeled, right? So I've never had this happen. So we've had to we're appealing it right now to the mortgage company because that's who sends out. The lender sends out the appraisal guy, and she's looked at it and going, yeah, I have no idea what he's done here. So It's frustrating though, because now we're in COVID, everything's taking for ages. Now we've had to go and dispute something that's clearly wrong, because if he wouldn't have ticked the box, if he would have said pool renovated, and it came in at that, I'd be scratching my head thinking, how?
Right.
He's ran a comp that's sold for 265 that's not been fixed up and smaller without a pool. I'm just mind blown with this thing. So anyway, we dealt with that yesterday. We've gone in and we've done a appealed against it or whatever, but no idea how long that's going to take. Have you ran into anything like that yourself? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I have I got 4 houses closing in the next couple of weeks, and yeah, I think the process. I don't think it'll take long. I've seen us appeal some appraisals, and sounds like, I'm just guessing. I don't even know what this person did, but I'm not even sure they even went to the house. I mean, they might have done it from someplace else.
Well, yeah, he was there for sure, but
he was. Okay.
We don't know if it took a week to get it back. We don't know if he's mixed it up. We don't know what he's done, but he's done. I was thankful to see, my team was fuming, and I was at the start, but then I was like, well, he's made all these mistakes, so that's better than him saying everything was right. I mean, the bathrooms are brand new, like redone. This thing is like nice. And anyway, it was just crazy.
I think it'll come out okay. I think, and to your point, the appraisers are like backed up for weeks. I mean, I got the results from one like 10 days later or whatever, and it's possible all that happened, but I think you'll get it fixed, and it shouldn't be a big issue. The challenge is that when they do an appraisal where he actually did it correctly, but it didn't come in. Now I had for example, a house that a gentleman called to sell his house for cash, but when we got there, we're like, man, this is a killer house. Like, this is beautiful. Like, there's nothing, like, take this, let us sell it for you. And he did. Well, the first appraisal came in at like, I don't know, 40,000 under a list. And we're like, what? And so when we challenged the comps and all, and then the seller's like, I'm not, I won't take that. So, okay, cool. So we just put it back on the market, and then the second time sold it for the list price, and done deal. So sometimes it doesn't make sense what happens, but
no, absolutely.
Anyway,
and the seller was, we even went back to the seller and said, hey, it's come in. And he said, no, that's crazy. He was happy to pay more. He's like, no way. He's like, I don't blame you. Exactly. He's like, just don't take another offer. Just figure it out. Because we had tons of offers on it. It was sure crazy.
Was this in Alabama?
Yeah.
You should. They'll get it figured out. You should be fine.
Awesome. Well, look, I appreciate it.
Same here.
So just last thing before we go here. You're working obviously Central Florida, Orlando, but you're going coast to coast across.
Correct.
Right? So what areas are they? Just kind of.
So I go from like Palm Coast, was just north of Volusia County, and then kind of like down the I-4 corridor from the East Coast down to the northeast side of Tampa, like Pinellas County. And so we do, like, Lakeland is really the point where we stop, but we do a little in some of the communities surrounding area. And I partner with agents from coast to coast, basically.
Awesome.
And so it's a lot of fun. I enjoy that. And I want to say, and I want to give proper credit here. So before we hang up, thanks for all the learning I've done from you. I've texted you, called you, all kind of stuff. You and Joe, and man, you guys have taught me so much about this business. And maybe the two most important things that I've learned from you guys is this is not a real estate business; it's a marketing business. So if you don't market, like, you got no shot at being successful in this, whatever that channel is for you. And make offers, make offers. And so
make offers. Yeah,
if you don't make offers, you can't win. So anyway, I'm hugely indebted to you guys, and I really appreciate all that you've done to help me in this journey.
Well, no, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Frank, just one last thing here. If people are listening here, they're going to be thinking, well, how do I partner with Frank? They may be new. They may be an investor that doesn't have a relationship with an agent to say, hey, we got a retail one here. Can you come in? How do people kind of get hold of you if they want to message and reach out?
They can. I'm happy to take calls on my cell phone. I still have my Miami area code 305-775-8750. Feel free to text me or call me. I answer my phone. Or you can email me, Frank, F-R-A-N-K, at frankjrbuyshouses.com. Frank at frankjrbuyshouses.com.
There we are, guys. So yeah, Frank at frankjrbuyshouses.com. Awesome. So guys, if you are interested in partnering with Frank in that kind of window that he gave, I'm sure he'd love to do a call. And I just say this to everyone as well listening: try and always bring, when not just with Frank but with anyone, right? Try and bring when you get on and you reach out to people, how can you help Frank? Be thinking about that, right? Don't come in and go, Frank, can I take you for a coffee, right? Frank, you'd give me all this information, Frank, right? Try and think, well, hold on. Frank's done his time. He's been in every program. He's learned. He's worked with me and Joe and all these other people, and he's got to where he's got by taking massive action. So just be thinking about that, guys. Like, when you reaching out, like, hey, Frank, how can I help you? What can I do for you? How do we do business together? Or, hey, Frank, here's the deal. Just be really thinking. And that goes for all people in the market. Any investors that are like, oh, I wish I could work with that guy. I wish I could know that guy in your market. That's how you need to do it. You need to add value as quickly as possible and not just be the guy, oh, another take, right? Yeah. And if you do that, you're going to network a lot faster. Okay. You're going to get to where you're going a lot faster as well. Awesome. Well, Frank, I appreciate you. Great episode. Thank you so much. And we will catch up soon.
Thank you, Gavin. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.